Welcome to our UV resin number 2. Today we're going to talk about colored resin and glitter, and you'll be able to make something like this and something like this. Oh, so pretty. Please come play with us. Well, last week began with the Discovery Kit, and that has the resin, it has the open bezels, it has the tape sheets, and it also has the UV light. So all of that is what we worked with, but we're going to go another step. As a matter of fact, just to let you know, we have about 10 steps for you in the coming months. I'm going to bring in my craft sheet because that's what I'm going to work on, and it just works very nicely. And I'm going to take one of the bezels, and this is a new one. It is the butterfly that I just showed you. Now, as we get in closer, you'll be able to see that on this side, the body of the butterfly you can see. On the other side, it's flat. So I choose for that to be the back of my, my necklace. And I'm going to take my bezel tape, and it is attached to clear plastic. I'm going to remove that, and then I'm going to place my butterfly to align it at the top so that the plastic is against my bezel. I'm going to make sure that it is really secure on all sides. So I'm just going to kind of rub that and make sure. And you know what? I'm going to move that a little bit because it's just a little too close for comfort. So I'm going to go right down there. Now, if my piece had the loop at the top, I would let that extend off of it. But in this case, the wings are really taller than that. Okay, now I'm going to take the raspberry, and this resin is opaque. And all I'm going to do is squeeze it into those openings. Now, the only thing you have to know is that the ones that are tiny are going to take much less resin. And this piece, let's see, this holds 10 milliliters. I'm not really conversant with milliliters, but it's a little bit. So I'm just going to squeeze it in, and it's already colored, so I don't have to do anything. And just like so, I'm going to bring it up, and I'm just going to let it rest and fill that area. Then I'm going to go over to the other side, do the exact same thing. And with resin, it tends to self-level. Now, in these little areas, I just want a smidge. So you can see that. And I won't worry if any drops between the sections. I can just lift it off with my toothpick. You do still need your toothpick, so there we go. Now, I'm just going to set that aside, and I'm going to bring in my trusty toothpick, and I'm just going to scoot this around. And last week, or last month, someone asked about bubbles in UV resin. And I haven't had much of a problem, or actually any problem with that, but I do want to give you a solution. So I actually have a couple for you. So there I go, I'm scooting that forward. And just again, making sure that it's coming in contact with all areas of the opening. And if you have not played with this yet, I am here to tell you there is somewhat of an addiction to it because I had so much fun this weekend getting ready for this and playing with many aspects that it's just great fun. And of course, because this is going to get hard quickly, you have this immediate gratification, which I also like. So a little bit right there. And again, I'm just going to turn this to make sure that I really did. And I'm glad I turned it because I did not make contact on this side. I want to make sure to do that and scoot this. Now, as I said, it kind of levels itself, self-leveling. And you may have been able to tell that those tiny areas are kind of going down a little bit. And that's fine. You can always add more resin, or you can put clear resin over the top of it, so whatever you like. Okay. Just let that set for a little bit just to make sure that everything is correct. Do you like the raspberry color? I think it's really pretty. And we do have lots of these butterflies, so that's nice. Now, the next step, well, as you know what the next step is, you're going to take your light and place it over it and let it cure for a good minute. Now, I do want to tell you that because I was playing so much and having such a good time, I did opt for the this piece. So this is a light that you don't have to hold, like the flashlight, although it does have an end that has to go into a computer or a USB connector. So that's just how it works, and you can set it for 10 minutes, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, or 60 seconds. Now you will want to, with a thin layer like that, it's probably going to take a minute or two. When it is done, so I'm not going to take the time to do that, you will have a piece like this. Now, as I said, you can go over the top with a second layer, although if you want to kind of be stingy with your opaque color, I elected to do my top layer with the clear because I had more of the clear. So that was my choice. So here it is. Now, we also have the opaque in white. So I wanted to do one for you in white. And like I said, in fact, everyone I've shown these to has said it looks like enamel wear. And isn't that pretty? Oh, so easy. Okay, now we have more colors. We have two more colors. We have a blue and we have a purple. Now these are translucent. So the strawberry and the white are opaque, but the blue and the purple are translucent. So in order to see that translucency, I'm going to scoot white in here. Let me get you a pretty area of that. And there you can see. And isn't that pretty? Very, very neat. Now, this is in a different bezel, and this bezel is kind of a rose gold finish. And in the description, I'm calling this a circle, a circle that's raised because that outside edge is raised. And this is the one with coral. We have another one that has seashells, but I'll show you that in a minute. So same process with this. The only thing with this raised piece is that as you're squeezing in the resin, you need to kind of push it underneath the coral so it will stay right there. So here it is finished. So let me bring in another piece of the resin tape. I'll pull that off. And this is what I meant. So that's sticking up, so I can let that go over the edge of the tape. And again, I want to press that firmly by just pressing it down. Okay, now I'm going to move this away and this away. So here is my blue. I'm going to get my toothpick ready. And going to do the same thing. I'm just going to squeeze it. The other thing I found out, see, it's just this beautiful blue glob and you'll see it starting to level just as a little bit of time goes by. When I was curing this, I discovered that I needed to cure the back side of my bezel in addition to the front side. I think what happens is the gold on the front, or the metal on the front, I can't tell you this is gold, the metal on the front kind of interfered perhaps with the curing. So you'll just want to cure it on the front and cure it on the back. Just turn it over and put it underneath your light and that will work. You may have heard that you can use sunlight to cure UV resin, and that's exactly true. However, I live in Oregon. You may have heard that we have rain upon occasion. And just in case you ever want to do these projects in the evening, you're going to need another source for the sun. and that's why we use the UV. Now, I want to make sure that this is really at the edges, and I can feel them as I'm going around this. So do you see how it's going down? And that's perfectly fine. I can add more, or I can just leave this and go ahead and cure it, which is what I did. So just want to make sure. I can also lift that up and make sure that it is cured. Now, I did talk about if you have bubbles. So there are 2 ways that you can get rid of bubbles. Maybe there are 3. But one of them, I have heard, is to let it wait 5 minutes, and then any bubbles may come to the top and you can kind of pop them. So I guess that's one. Second one is to use a flame. That's right, a flame. I know this just feels really weird, but this is one of the fire starters. Looks like this. Okay, you get it at the grocery store. Press it forward, and then press on the trigger, and you can press that actually against the resin. No, it won't catch on fire, but it magically removes any bubbles. Very nice. The other thing that we can do is use a heat gun. And it's kind of neat because that's part of the craft industry. So you can use a heat gun and simply blow it across. You don't have to have it be there for minutes or anything. It will just work. So it just lifts them up. So that's kind of neat. Okay, so then again, the same thing. We put it under light for a minute, test it to see if it's sticky. If it's still sticky, go under a 2nd minute or a 3rd minute, just whatever it takes. And then you will have a result like this. So I want to bring in the white because that's really the best way to see that it's translucent. Isn't that pretty? It does look like an ocean. Very, very nice. Okay, so there is one other thing I want to show you. I mentioned that there was blue translucent. There is also purple translucent. So let me just show you that. And there it is on our butterfly. So it is really a lavender rather than a purple, but very pretty in our butterfly. Okay, we have more ideas. I promised you glitter, and let me get the glitter out here. Okay, these are going away. And the glitter. Okay, the glitter comes in a set like this. So you get chunky and fine in light pink and in bright pink. And then you get a mixture of chunky and fine together in gold and in red. And I used everything. The other thing that came in very handy, and I've come to really like, are these very sharp tweezers. They're metal. They're about 5 inches long, but super, super sharp. You can really see that those are needle point tweezers. And they're very handy for doing these glitters into the resin because you don't need much. That's kind of something that's true about all of these resin jewelry pieces, is that you don't need much. Okay, the one thing I also want to tell you is that these packages come with a piece of tape around them. So you kind of dig that tape up and get it off, and then you just can unscrew each of the containers. So it's nice to have those containers. Now, I showed you this to begin with. One more time, come in with white. And you can see that this is a silver heart, and this is the bright pink that's glitter that's in there. And because this is an open bezel, meaning there's no backing to it, I love how those are just floating in air. Isn't that nice? Now we have these in silver and in gold and in bronze. So just to see the difference in those finishes, there's gold, there's bronze, and then you know what silver looks like. Okay, so since this one has already been done, why don't I take, let's see, why don't I take the bronze, and we'll do this. Again, same thing with the tape. Remove it from the backing. Here we go. Again, I'm going to hold this. Now, in the case of these bezels, the hook is going to need a jump ring to attach it to a necklace to keep it from spinning. And I'll talk to you about that in just a minute. So same thing, I'm pushing that. Now this is going to be filled with the, it's going to be filled with the regular resin. Now the resin that came in the Discovery Kit is this one. And you want to hold on to this because of that nice nozzle at the top. But as you are getting this used up, you may want to get the 100 milliliter container. This too has a nice nozzle. I opted, because I could tell what was happening, the 500 milliliter, which is, there's a hefty price on this, but you can see it's going to go a long ways. So whichever way you want to go, we are prepared to help you. Okay, so you can refill these. Again, just make sure that you're not adding, not shaking it or anything. Okay, so there is my heart. And I'm going to use the same colors that I used here. I'm going to use this mix of bright. And like I said, there is the fine and there's the chunky. So I'm going to go ahead and get the lids off. And this is where those tweezers are going to come in. And if I had you in a class right now, this would be so fun because you would just be oohing and aahing as you create your projects. So I'm going to put my clear resin in, and I'm going to let it go all over. And I'm going to get my trusty toothpick to push these. Now you can see there's a bubble forming right there. So we're going to pop that. But you know now the process to fix that. Okay, so the same thing, I'm going to bring this over to all of the edges of that bezel, just to make sure that it's very complete. We want to have a base that is solid. And go all the way around. The very first time I did this, I was quite paranoid about it. I was scared to death that it wouldn't, that I would miss something. And while you do want to be careful, you don't have to spend 10 minutes looking at every edge. Okay, but you just want to make sure that it does touch, because then you have a complete edge. Now, you can, if you want a complete coating of glitter, you can mix the glitter into the resin before you put it into your bezel. I didn't want that look for these particular projects. I wanted it to be where it was just covering certain areas. So what I did is I first used these. Now you're not going to pick up much with these tweezers, but you will pick up more than what you think. So as I do this, I'm just going to drop them. Just drop them. And I'm going to get different sizes, because in this container, there's some larger chunks and there's some smaller chunks, which is kind of nice. So it just gives a randomness to it. So I'm going to first get my bigger pieces wherever I want them. Okay, what do you think? Is that okay? Yes, and then you can drop some on your sticky bezel tape. Then I'm going to go with the fine one. Now, one thing I want to show you that I thought was pretty clever is that when you have, this is, contained. In fact, I think I opened that up upside down. Yes, I did. Okay, see how static electricity pulls that to the top? Okay, I am going to take this, hold it over my piece, and just tap it. And that's going to scatter very lightly over my piece. So I can drop it on with the tweezers, but I found that tapping it just worked really, really well. Then I can put the lid back on it, on both of them, and let it go. Now, I've got quite a bit on there, but you can still see the clear resin. So you can see it's going to look exactly like that when it gets cured. Then I can go back and put another coat of the clear on top. Now I did find that it seemed like the glitter kind of reflected the light, so I needed to do it maybe 5 minutes to get that really cured. Okay, so that took care of that. Now I thought it would be fun for you to see what the red looked like. So bring in the white again. And there is the red. We'll get in closer so you can see. Even close, there you go. So that's the red. This was the bright pink. Let's see, I'm hoping you can see that really well. Maybe if I hold it up, there you go. How striking is that? As you can see, really, really pretty. Now, I thought it would be interesting with our oval. We have the oval in silver, but we also have it in gold and we have it in bronze. And the silver we had first, and we have the most of the silver. So I thought it would be interesting to see, what if I mixed the metals? So I've got my silver bezel and I put the gold glitter on it. And I like that. Now you could also put it under the gold. That's what it would look like, or under the bronze. That would be pretty too, because the bronze is kind of a dull gold, and then you'd have the shiny gold on the inside. So that's really neat. The other thing I did, I told you I had really fun. This is our butterfly again. And I took the butterfly, put the regular UV resin in it, and then I did the trick of taking the silver, turning it over, and then opening it up and tapping just to get those fine particles into the resin. And I'm quite happy with that. Again, then I put the clear resin on top after I cured the first layer. Do you want to see some other mix-ups? We have another resin, or another bezel. This is a circle. It is a raised circle, but this one has seashells. Our first one had coral. So I took this and I put white in it, the white resin, and then I put the gold glitter. And I am quite happy with that. Again, you get the enamel look, but you also get that pop of gold. So that's sort of fun. Okay, I have one more, and that is cats. We love cats around here. So this is a silver. You can see the cats all around the corner, and this is about 2 inches by a little over 1 inch. And I took this, and since I had used the bright pink and I had used the red and the gold, well, what's left is the light pink. So I did put the clear glitter, the clear resin, and then I put the 2 pinks and just let those be in the center of this piece. And I thought that was fun. And then I tried it with the white resin. So let me scoot this so you can really see that there is white resin. Did the same pink, and this too is very thin, so you don't need much resin in there. Fine to use the colored resin. So you can see that pink. And I will tell you that my granddaughter Penelope was doing this with me, and this is her creation. She took both pinks. You know, the child is going to have all the glitters. So she took both the light pink glitter and the dark pink glitter and put them over the clear resin. And how fun is that? So you can mix them as whatever you like. Okay, that is what I have to share with you with the colors. So we've got the opaque, we have got the translucent, and with the glitters in lots of colors and so many things that you can do with them, plus all of these new bezel shapes that are oh so fun and will give you lots and lots of creativity that you can do. Okay, I hope that you are as intrigued with UV resin as I am. Especially love the fact that we can get it done in just minutes and be ready to wear. Oh, I did talk about the jump rings that you'll need. So to get this butterfly to go onto a necklace. So we do have this jewelry kit, and it has the needle nose pliers right here, as you can see. And these are handy for holding the jump rings. And the jump rings are in here. They are a circle. And if you will pretend that this is the circle, when you open it like a door, meaning that you'll pull the half towards you and away from you. You will not open it like a book. So you don't open it like that because that's going to weaken this area. I hope this is making sense to you. So you're going to open it like a door and then slip your pendant into it or your bezel into it and then close your door. Okay, and then you can put it right onto your necklace. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, leave me a comment and I'll explain it further in the next UV resin webisode. If you are watching this on YouTube, I hope you will like us. I hope you will subscribe. Come on over to paperwishes.com. We have a money saver. It's on the right side of our screen. Down below, you'll see the projects, but you'll see all the products that we use in creating these very fun, colorful, and glittery UV resin bezels. See you next time.